Well, I have been studying the indigenous communities of Cambodia in relation to their rights in their land. The indigenous people, as you know, have a collective ownership of land, and land is very basic to their lifestyles. The laws in Cambodia do acknowledge this reality, but in practice they are being dispossessed of their land at an alarming rate. And so I have been studying how their access or lack of access to legal institutions has enabled other communities and outsiders to appropriate their land, really in total disregard of the law. Well, I think the law isn't working because the entire legal system has been subverted by the government. The independence of the judiciary is assured in the Constitution, but in practice it is really the Prime Minister who gives instructions to judges as to how they should decide their cases. The legal profession also has been cowed. I mean, they have been under a lot of pressure not to take up cases of these communities. They, of course, the communities cannot afford legal representation. They're not even quite sure what a lawyer does. But there are a number of what you might call NGOs who provide legal assistance free to them. So some of them have been able to go to court. But these lawyers, I've talked to many of them, themselves become subject of state victimization, intimidated. The Bar Association threatens to withdraw their licenses, their certificates, if they continue this kind of practice. And the constitution that Cambodia has, which was made after the defeat of Khmer Rouge in 1993, does actually contain all the requisite provisions for rule of law. It's just that they have not practiced because of the dominance of the executive. Another time I went to a prison because the military had taken over land belonging to about 100 villagers, had burned their huts, and had ringed off that area. And I was alerted to this by the villagers, and I drove up to this village 2 hours from Phnom Penh, and the huts were still smoldering. There was smoke coming out. And this community had been kicked off the land. I could see the soldiers putting these nails, putting up the fences, and they had stayed all night out in the open. Children were not fed. And then when they protested, 11 members of the community were taken to prison. These were elderly people in the 70s. And I was allowed to see them. I have right under my assignment to do that. And I had a long conversation with them. And they were complete victims of the thing. And what I think happens, the absence of rule of law, that claimants, victims, are victimized through the legal system. But I think it's also important, perhaps even more important, what I call the demand side. That people should be made aware of possibilities of redress through legal institutions. They should be enabled to take their cases to court without intimidation, without fear of being victimized once they get caught up in the legal system. More general public awareness of the importance of rights and rules and judicial institutions. And I think the international community also has to play a role in this. Cambodia has come out of a very difficult past, and the international community is giving assistance, but is not sufficiently emphasizing the importance of the rule of law.